Do you love baking? Is it a hobby that gives you a lot of pleasure and enjoyment, especially during the holidays? But does it also create a challenge for your weight management? I know it does for a lot of people. In this episode, we are going to stir together the thin thinking ingredients that are going to unlock a strategy for your baking, being able to bake mindfully in a way that allows you to enjoy the hobby that you love and even enjoy your treats after, but stay mindful of your health and weight management goals at the same time. So set the oven at 350 degrees and let's get baking. Did you know that our struggle with weight doesn't start with the food on your plate or get fixed in the gym? 80% of our weight struggle is mental. That's right. The key to unlocking long-term weight release and management begins in your mind. Hi there, I'm Rita Black. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, weight loss expert, best-selling author, and the creator of the Shift Weight Mastery process. And not only have I helped thousands of people over the past 20 years achieve long-term weight mastery, I am also a former weight struggler, carb addict, and binge eater. And after 2 decades of failed diets and fad weight loss programs, I lost 40 pounds with the help of hypnosis. Not only did I release all that weight, I have kept it off for 25 years. Enter the Thin Thinking podcast, where you too will learn how to remove the mental roadblocks that keep you struggling. I'll give you the thin thinking tools, skills, and insights to help you develop the mindset you need, not only to achieve your ideal weight, but to stay there long term and live your best life. Sound good? Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Oh boy. I love this time of year so much. It is so magical. I love the feeling in the air. I love that people seem to be more friendly here in Los Angeles during the holidays. It might be an illusion, but I feel like there's a friendly, loving vibe in the air. And I really enjoy entertaining and having people over. The only thing I don't love is shopping. I'm not a huge shopper. My husband does all of that. I just don't like it, never did. Maybe it was my aversion from struggling with my weight and never wanting to go shopping. But he has in the past done a lot of the holiday shopping for our kids. And even though, let's be honest, if you're a parent nowadays, well, I don't know what kind of a parent you are, but most of our shopping, our kids just give us the links. They submit their list with the links to whatever they want. And it's just way too easy. It's just like it's too easy to fall into negative behaviors when we are holiday baking. And by doing that, what happens, I see so many people fall into this negative trap of they start holiday baking with the best of intentions, but then they just start overeating. It just starts that overeating cycle. Whether you are a spoon licker or a dough muncher or the broken cookie monster, it can be an issue. My mom, oh my gosh, my mom struggled with her weight, but she was also the best baker in the world. And she had, and I inherited, I have them in my kitchen now, maybe about 10 really thick notebook binders full of recipes that she clipped from newspapers back in the day. I mean, and I hold on to them. I really don't use them that much. But every once in a while I'll open them up and I'll use a recipe of hers. But during the holidays when I was growing up, she would bake literally 10 different types of cookies, big batches of them. And then she would put them all together into cute little containers that we would cover in felt. And, it was very crafty. This was the 70s when, people are crafty nowadays too. I'm not the craftiest person in the world, but my mom was crafty. She was awesome. And it was great to be, along for the ride in her holiday, pre-holiday baking. And, I have a lot of sentimental memories attached to that. I also have lots of memories of overeating cookie dough, feeling gross, even as a kid. The self-loathing began early, around 8, but nonetheless, those are fond memories on one side of my brain, and on the other side of the brain, painful memories of being overweight as a child. So baking evokes a lot of different memories and feelings for me. But I have put together a coaching session, and I want to give you access to it today. That is really going to help you if you're somebody who likes to bake. Obviously that's a part of who you are. And, in order to manage your weight, you want to be able to bake. And sometimes what I've done as somebody who has managed my weight now, taken off 40 pounds and kept it off for 25 years, I learned to bake more healthfully and use different recipes. But, it still doesn't mean I don't make holiday classics. I just get my mindset right around it before I start baking. So I want to give you some pre-baking tips, during baking tips, and post-baking tips for you to stay on track during the holidays. And also, don't forget to get my Shift Out of Sugar Cravings hypnosis session. It's absolutely free, and the link is in the show notes below. All you have to do is just enter your name and your email address, and we will send that over to you. And that's a really awesome tool that you can use during the holidays or really any time of year if sugar is, a nemesis for you. So let's get going on that coaching session. Thank you for joining me today. So what you want to do really, and all my approach is all through how you use your mind effectively, because when you're mentally prepared for things, then they always go better. If you don't have a plan, the world has one for you, and the holiday baking world, it is not a slimming plan. So you want to be prepared before you head into your holiday baking. First of all, what I do say is to eat before you get all the flour, sugar, and baking ingredients together and start putting stuff together. Because if you go into your holiday baking hungry, chances are you might start picking at the dough, spike your blood sugar, that crashes, you feel hungry, you start eating more dough or start eating the frosting or and then it's like, oh, screw it. Well, I ate some of that, then I might as well eat it all. And oh, screw that. I'll just start my diet over January 1st. So don't do that. But just start with eating some protein before you head into it. Protein's amazing because it just really stabilizes your blood sugar insulin levels. Whether it's eating just some yogurt or some piece of cheese, or if you're a vegan, making a nice vegan shake that you can just sip through your holiday baking. Now, also, if you mentally prepare, you want to know how much, and what I mean by that is you want to know how much you are going to, I'm going to move that up there. You want to know how much you're going to allow yourself to eat. I'm always one for not like sitting through the whole holiday baking and saying I'm not going to eat anything. I prepare ahead of time. I think, okay, I like eating dough. I mean, I know that's a no-no. There's eggs and some dough, but I always am like, well, screw it. I like eating dough. But I'm only going to let myself, I'm going to be fed first. And then, if I really like a little piece of gingerbread dough, I'm going to allow myself to eat it, but I'm going to be aware of that ahead of time. Like I'm going to have a boundary around that. So again, I don't go into it thinking, well, I'm going to be good, and then start putting stuff in my mouth and then have it go off. Because if our mind is prepared ahead of time, if we have a vision and a plan, chances are we are going to follow through on that much, much more. If we go into it thinking, I'm going to be good, eat something and then go, well, screw it. It's all out the window anyway. That's what the mind likes to do. It's that all or nothing attitude. And we don't want to go into this with an all or nothing attitude. Also, you want to kind of go into your holiday baking. My guess is that you're probably going to be either holiday baking for other people or with other people, which is always super fun. So you want to really think about your holiday baking, not just like here I'm, making a bunch of cookies or cakes or pies or all of the above, but that I really what I'm doing is creating something with love, right? And the true meaning of the holiday really isn't in the eating, the taste of the food. It's the smells, it's the sincere purity of your intentions to create joy for other people. So it's nice to play music and to just really get into the spirit of the holiday, because I feel like sometimes it all gets focused on the food rather than what's going on here with us in our hearts. And I think the more that we are focused on the true meaning of the holiday and that it's about people coming together, or if you're not coming together with people, the giving spirit, the generosity of the holiday, then you are way better off, and you're not just thinking about the food, but you're thinking about what's going on in here. Also, you may think about making healthier holiday options for your friends and family. Chances are they may be trying to manage their weight too. And there's awesome recipes. If you just Google like lower calorie cakes or low carb cakes or cookies, there's so many options out there now. I mean, they're all right there at your fingertips. I last year I made a batch of low carb gingerbread that was so popular with everybody. They were like, oh, I'm going gluten-free, or I'm going keto. This is so great, So think about it. You might be surprised at how many people appreciate a healthier, lighter holiday treat. And then again, one more thing that you can do before you head into this is if you were at my house in the 70s and, it was the 70s, maybe the early 80s. But my mom's house, holiday baking was a 2-day event, right? Like she was serious. She made like probably 15 different recipes and put them all together and gave them to the neighbors and to the relatives. And I mean, it was a serious affair. So if you're going to be baking more than an hour or two, make sure you have healthy snacks that you can reach for. So again, that you aren't starting to just eat cookies or broken off pieces of cake instead of eating something nourishing and stabilizing, so that you can stay within your healthy eating plan and stay maintaining or releasing weight through the holidays. So now, during the actual baking itself, I want you to understand, and maybe you already do, that the biggest portal into memory, because so much of the holidays is about memory and that idea of family and love and connectedness. And so much of that portal isn't actually through food, but through smell. So I want you to understand as you head into the holidays that the most important thing isn't your taste buds, but it's your nose. And that the more you understand like the smell of what's baking in the oven and the smell of the goodies is actually filling you with those memories and emotions way more than the actual tasting of those things, then you can again start to create a distance between yourself, because I think a lot of times what we do is we eat the memories. We think, oh my gosh, I had this when I was a kid and it was so good. And a lot of times, ironically, those things don't even taste that good anymore. You eat a couple of bites and are like, that's too sweet, but then we're eating it and then off we go to the races. But if you focus on the smell, I had a client, she released 50 pounds and she said, all I do is I take it and I smell it and I think about that memory and I don't need to eat it. And it fills me with joy. So if that is helpful for you, then take that to the bank and take that to your baking episode. So when I was a kid and when I was struggling with my weight, I baked a lot. And baking for me was like a drug-like experience. You know, it like flour, sugar, and butter equaled heroin to me. You know, people have their meth kitchens. Well, my kitchen was, I felt like my kitchen was a drug den too, because I could get high off of eating those things. So again, that's why it's so important to prepare, so that when you are if you end up putting flour, sugar in your mouth, that you are not putting it on an empty stomach, because it will go to your brain and create like a drug-like experience. And then you have a lot harder time managing eating that day. And then obviously so much of a struggle with our weight over the holidays is because once we kind of get that high, then we're chasing the high through the holidays, continuing to eat all that stuff all day long, and that part of the brain gets engaged, and then it just wants more and more and more, and we're helplessly going, why am I eating all this food I'm not even tasting? I'm not really, I mean, of course you enjoy some of it, but a lot of it we don't even experience, and then we gain weight, and then we feel horrible at the beginning of the new year, and then we have to start one of those crazy New Year's diets, which is another video, but let's continue with this. Something you might consider, and this was a tip I got from an old baking expert, because she never ate. She was so serious about baking. She was like, oh, I never eat any of the dough. She was like, this is just like a pure art form for her. So it would be like a painter eating his paints. So she always had a glass of hot water that she would wear plastic gloves, and she could dip her hand and, you know, wipe off, or dip her knife if she was like frosting cookies, and instead of licking the knife, which is what I love to do, she would dip it in the hot water, and then she would have a towel and she would just wipe it off, so that if she was going to paint, you know, like a frost a different color, like gingerbread cookies or something, she wasn't, you know, it wasn't getting messy and then licking hands and all of that kind of stuff. So that is also something a trick that I learned from my old mentor. And while you are baking and making merry, please put on some amazing music and sing and dance while you're doing it, because that is the joy of the holiday. You know, that movie Elf that everybody loves. Well, I just think about being an elf in the kitchen and kicking up my heels and dancing and or listening to the Nutcracker Suite and pretending I'm a ballerina, and that way you're moving, you're getting exercise, and you're baking. And when you decide you're going to eat your treat, like let's say you bake a batch of cookies and you've planned, like, I'm going to sit down and eat a gingerbread cookie. Don't eat it standing up mindlessly. Sit down, enjoy every bite. Be conscious and mindful, so it means something to you and that you really experience it, versus like, well, I didn't even taste that one, let me eat another one. Now afterwards, this is very important, because this is going to make or break your baking experience into the future as far as what those baked goods are going to do. So here's the thing, like, stimulus control is 60-70% of weight management. If it's not in your environment, chances are you're not going to eat it. So baking a bunch of cookies and baking a bunch of holiday goods and having them out on the counters and in the, right in your eye line, you're going to have a relationship with those cookies, because they're going to call your name. They're going to be like, every time you walk by them, you have to have a conversation with yourself in your mind, like, am I going to eat it? Am I not? And they might say, come over, we're so cute. We just, I'm a little gingerbread man, and don't you want to eat me? Like you're always having to manage that. And what happens is we're stressed over the holiday seasons. Our willpower is very low during the holiday season because we're so stimulated. So chances are, if it's out and about, it's going to end up in your mouth. So please pack things up, put it away. I mean, hopefully you're baking stuff not just for you, but for other people, and that you are going to wrap up and take the things and get them out of your house, leaving just a few for you that you can, eat. And I am always one for, choosing a couple of holiday treats that I'm going to really enjoy and have. And then, because I don't need to eat everything in the holiday season, to know that it's there. I don't need the candy canes because I know what they taste like. I'll choose a couple of things, maybe some gingerbread, maybe a couple of my favorite holiday treats, but otherwise, and then have a couple of servings of them. But otherwise, I don't need to eat my way through the holidays to know that I have had the holidays. In fact, I am happier, more connected to myself, managing my weight and not feeling deprived at all, but feeling like I'm thriving because I'm not stuck in that coma of sugar, flour, and butter, which can really put you in a comatose state and make you feel bad and unhealthy and really, really bring your holidays down, really. So don't think deprived, think thrive. And after you are done with your holiday baking, please rest and take care of yourself, because when you're rested, you're renewing your willpower. And my famous 3-bite rule, that's something that I think you should know about. If you don't, maybe you do. If you know me and know my stuff. But the idea is that after 3 bites, our mouth experience goes from 90% down to 20%. So most of these holiday baked goods, we only really need 3 bites of to really know, oh, I remember what grandma's fruitcake tasted like. Yeah, that's good. I only need 3 bites, Oh, I know what fudge tastes like. Okay, that's good. I got that down. So, eat the 3 bites, enjoy them, be mindful about them, but then maybe you don't need them anymore. All right. So I really feel like you are ready and prepared now to head out and to bake powerfully through the holiday season. There you go. Oh, well, I hope you enjoyed that episode. Let's take it out of the oven and let it cool down and send you on your merry way. And don't forget to grab your free Sugar Cravings, Shift Out of Sugar Cravings hypnosis session in the show notes if you haven't gotten it yet. That's going to help you a lot during the holiday season too. So go ahead and grab it. It's absolutely free. And have an amazing week. Take care of yourself. Pace yourself through the holidays. Don't overextend yourself. Put yourself at the top of the self-care priority list. And remember that the key, and probably the only key, to unlocking the door of the weight struggle is inside you. So keep listening and find it. Thanks for listening to the Thin Thinking Podcast. Did that episode go by way too fast for you? If so, and you want to dive deeper into the mindset of long-term weight release, head on over to www.shiftweightmastery.com. That's www.shiftweightmastery.com, where you'll find numerous tools and resources to help you unlock your mind for permanent weight release, tips, strategies, and more. And be sure to check the show notes to learn more about my book, From Fat to Thin Thinking, Unlock Your Mind for Permanent Weight Loss, and to learn how to subscribe to the podcast so that you never miss an episode.